Hello, people. Welcome back to Life 101. If you're seeing my face for the very first time, my name is Betsy Hamzat, and this is Life 101. Please kindly like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Follow for more videos. Today's topic is one that is really painful but necessary. We're talking about the xenophobia going on in South Africa. You know, the treatment of fellow Africans living in South Africa, how Nigerians, Ghanaians, Cameroonians, Zimbabweans, Malawians, every African living in South Africa, how they've been treated of recent. Okay, so what do I have to say about this xenophobia? I know a lot of Africans has described it as Afrophobia rather than xenophobia. When the attack is directed at Africans, specifically Africans, if you're non-African, you'll be all right. But if you're an African, you're in trouble. That is Afrophobia. But there was a time when South Africa was going through one of their darkest periods. During the time of apartheid, when many African countries stood with South Africans in their struggles for freedom and justice, Nigeria was one of the biggest countries, one of the countries who gave the most. Apartheid was a very crucial time. It was a system of racial segregation in South Africa in that time when it happened. And there was a lot of discrimination going on. It existed between the white race and the black race in South Africa. You know, from I think 1948 to 1994, the word apartheid was in vogue. It was reigning. It means apartness in Africans, a language spoken in South Africa, to say apartness in African. So before we continue this discussion, it is important to understand what apartheid was and why many Africans feel emotional about what is happening in South Africa today. Apartheid was a government policy introduced in South Africa in 1948 by the National Party. This was introduced by the National Party at the time. It was a system designed to separate people based on race. And a lot of people were given privileges. If they were not black, you were given a lot of privileges to the white minorities while denying basic rights to the black people. During the time of apartheid, the policy that the National Party introduced in 1948 in South Africa against the black South Africans that are now dealing with Africans. If you see what this is, black South Africans could not even vote in national elections. At the time, black South Africans could not vote. They were not classified as people who should be part of the race in South Africa. They were not even classified as people who should attend the same classes with other white children. At schools, at hospitals, beaches, even like a normal social gathering, even on the bus, public facilities where segregations were going on, they would segregate and separate black Africans from white people living in South Africa. Black people needed pass books to enter certain areas reserved for whites. It was that bad. Families were forcefully removed from their homes if they lived in areas designed for another race. Let's say this area is designed for the white people and a black person comes to that area. They are separated immediately. They are forcefully taken. Those who protested against apartheid were often arrested. They were imprisoned, they were tortured and even killed. Many South Africans resisted this injustice. Leaders such as Nelson Mandela was remarkable. They became symbols of the struggle for freedom. Mandela spent 27 years in prison because of his opposition to apartheid. He wasn't in support of apartheid. He fought against apartheid as a black African person. The fight against apartheid was not only a South African fight. It was a struggle that other African countries joined South Africa to fight and to win this battle. Many African countries, especially Nigeria, and even international bodies, international communities supported the movement against apartheid. Nigeria was one of the strongest supporters, providing financial assistance, diplomatic backing, and even scholarship to South African immigrants flying into Nigeria during the time of apartheid. And Nigerians were advocating for sanctions against the apartheid regime. All African countries stood up against the apartheid regime that lasted for several years. And after some years of resistance and international pressure, apartheid officially ended in 1994. So South Africa held its first democratic election in which people of all races could vote. Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president because he fought for apartheid and he fought and won. And he became the first African president in South Africa. Hallelujah, somebody. And you would think that the Africans have learned from these lessons. The lesson of apartheid is simple. No human being should be treated as less of a person, as less of a human, as less worthy to live amongst other people. No human being should be treated like that. Regardless of your race, your nationality, your ethnicity, geographical background, whatever, your skin color, tone color, whatever it is, your accent, it doesn't matter. Every human being should be treated equally. And that is why many Africans are deeply troubled whenever they see fellow Africans being attacked or discriminated against today. They remember a time when the continent stood together against injustice in South Africa and asked whether Africa is still living up to those values today. I can't answer that question. Are we still living up to those values today? It's in South Africa. Those Africans fighting against fellow Africans, are they living up to these values today? Do they even remember history? Can they go back down memory lane or watch the videos, documentaries, and see how terrible it was, the fight for apartheid, and how every African country stood up for South Africans? I'm just going to say, the irony is that Africa once united against apartheid because people were being judged and oppressed because of who they were. People were being, it wasn't even like Nigerians were being judged. It was black South Africans living in their own country that were being judged and discriminated against. And all African countries stood up and fought this one big battle. Today, many people are asking whether xenophobia against fellow Africans reflects of the same dangerous ideas of dehumanizing others based on where they come from. Or do you think it's something different? It's the exact same. Apartheid, xenophobia, Afrophobia, whatever phobia, it's all the same discrimination. While apartheid and xenophobia are not the exact same thing, both remind us of the importance of protecting human dignity and rejecting hatred. Protect human dignity, reject hatred. Wherever you find yourself at work, in whatever country, protect human dignity. I beg you. One important point that I want to mention about this whole apartheid and xenophobia. Apartheid happened in the past, I know, and presently xenophobia or Afrophobia is happening, and a lot of people are flying back to their countries. Ghanaians have flown back, their immigrants in South Africa, they're indigens in South Africa, and Nigeria is doing the same.
Have started today. It's just that we were supposed to have rounded up the formalities today. The repatriation is on course. Mr. President himself has reiterated the fact that this aircraft must come to South Africa, and our citizens who are imperiled will have the chance of getting on this aircraft.
I think Air Peace and other airlines, I'm not really sure what the story is around that. They're going to South Africa, and the first, I think they've done the first batch. I don't know what batch they're doing at the moment, but I'm going to see what update is online tonight. But I just know that a lot of Africans are flying back to their countries because it is really, 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 really absurd to go through this with your fellow Africans. Like, how do you describe this Afrophobia going on? The Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, which is the person of Bianca Ojukwu, the late Ojukwu's wife, had come out to discriminate this, to say we're not taking it. Nigerians are not having this.
Nigeria is not happy with South Africa.
Nigeria is not happy because Nigeria has sacrificed much for the South African struggle for independence. Nigeria sacrificed quite a lot, committed funds, committed resources to aid South Africa. In schools, seats were reserved for South African students. My own generation, we carried placards. We demonstrated in front of South African assets. Sometimes we even got arrested for doing this. And Nigeria is a serious frontline state. And Nigerians are not happy about how they have treated us. They are not asking other migrants to leave. They're only asking Black migrants to leave.
They're not having this. Even in Ghana, there was a huge protest movement going on in Ghana that I watched, I think, 2 nights ago. I'm not sure if it's an old video, but I just saw it 2 nights ago. And, you know, they've gone to the minister of their own foreign affairs. They've had a one-to-one with the minister, and I saw the way he paid attention and listened to them. And
The dignity of that individual. Consequently, Honorable Minister, we are presenting the core economic and resource-based mandate of our movement. We demand that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refuse, and emphasis must be placed on the word refuse in every measure that it intends for it. That you refuse to renew any, and it's any, so you don't renew some any expired corporate or mining licenses for South African-owned companies operating within Ghana.
I like the guy that led that movement. They had all their plans, they had their goals written out, and I saw the way he put it before the minister and gave him line for line, saying that South Africans in Ghana are coming to work in their mining companies. They're mining for them. They're exporting a lot of their minerals and natural resources into South Africa, and they're doing XYZ jobs, and they're leading in huge businesses in Ghana. And they are saying is tit for tat, or how do you say it? It's an eye for an eye. If you were sending our people back, everyone from South Africa in Ghana who has got business, either in the mining, in the gold, or in the whatever sector, telecommunications sector, whatever sector the South Africans are holding a huge ground upon in Ghana, they're saying, we don't want this agreement anymore. This commitment, we don't want it anymore. We're not going to sign or renew any contracts with the South Africans. They should just go back to their countries. And this is making me ask, is that the right thing to do? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out to you. Do you think this is the right thing to do, to pay back this evil for evil? Like, if you're saying this is what you're going to do to our people, we are also going to stop every business with you. And this is not just Ghana, mind you. It's cutting across all African countries, including Nigeria. Nigerians are standing up, they're speaking out, they're saying, if this is what you want, the entire African countries don't want to have any business with you anymore. We're going to cut short all your businesses across all African countries. But to be honest, can there be a stop to all of this? Xenophobia, Afrophobia, can somebody just speak to these people that we are one? We are one. Let's don't break apart like this. We are one. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your opinion is. If you think that what the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, all the African countries are coming together to say we're cutting and stopping every business and deals with South Africans, we are not going to reenact any of their contracts and deals with us. We're going to stop every single negotiation of business with them, and we make sure they're back to their country as well. Do you think this is what we should do? Should that be the retaliation? Or is there any other way you think the president in South Africa can come out and help stop this before it gets out of hand? Nigeria in particular played a major role. Nigerians contributed financially to South Africa during the time of apartheid. They contributed financially. Trust me, Nigerians they're one of the kindest people you can find on earth. They are kind people. If you don't know today, Nigerians are very, very kind people. They contributed financially through what became known as the Southern African Relief Fund, SARF, the Southern African Relief Fund. The Nigerian government supported the anti-apartheid movement diplomatically and politically. It was a big thing in Africa. Scholarships were offered to people from South Africa, and Nigeria consistently used its voice on the international stage to push the liberation of South Africans. Yes, Nigerians did that. You can go and read, just Google it, you see a lot of stories out there. You can even find documentaries out there, a lot of them. African countries believe that an injustice against South Africans was an injustice against all Africans. That was the thought, that was the mindset. Where has that mindset gone today? What is going on? What has happened to that belief system that we had? Today, many people are asking, have we forgotten that spirit of African brotherhood is still the spirit of African brotherhood? African brotherhood is a strong brotherhood. Like, have you forgotten the spirit? Recently, Nigerian officials have condemned attacks against Nigerians and other foreign nationals living in South Africa. Everyone is condemning it. A lot of people are speaking about it. Politicians are speaking about it. They have called on the South African authorities to protect lives and property and ensure that those responsible are held accountable. I hope this is the case because I don't see this happening. I feel like they're making it look like there's nothing they can really do about it. Ghanaians have also really deeply expressed outrage. Some citizens, like I said, have protested. They've gone on the street and protested and demanded that their government and foreign affairs officials take stronger actions to protect Ghanaians. Every Ghanaian citizens and Nigerian citizens, I feel like they're on the same page. We're all saying the same thing. We want justice and we're seeking justice for every African living in South Africa. You know, as Africans, we have every right to ask difficult questions. Should other African countries retaliate by stopping South Africa? Do you think that is what is necessary at the moment? Should all African countries stop South African businesses from operating in their countries? Like Nigeria is thinking about that. Ghana is also, they've started that. They've already sent it to the minister. I watched the protest 2 days ago. Should South Africans living and working across Africa be sent back home? Do you think this is a fair judgment? Many people feel angry enough to support these measures. I'm telling you. Even churches are angry. They're angry and they want to support this movement. Others believe that retaliation would, very few believe that retaliation would only create more hatred and punish, innocent people who have done nothing wrong. But in fairness, even the Africans in South Africa, a lot of them are innocent. They've also done nothing wrong, yet they're going through this Afrophobia and Xenophobia, whatever you call it. I want to ask you, watching today, what do you think is the best response? Should African nations impose consequences on South Africa until the attack stops? Should this, the measure is not going to be on forever. It's just to stop what is going on. Or do you think all Africans should just go back to the country and leave South Africa alone? Why South Africans in African countries continue to operate like nothing happened? Should we seek another pathway through diplomacy? Probably through stronger laws, accountability, and education against xenophobia. I don't think they are not educated. They are. But do you think we should retaliate? Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comment section. We're not here to attack anyone. We love all our South African brothers and sisters within our neighborhoods. We are cool and at peace with them. But this is a more general thing we're talking about. I feel like we really need to also talk about our African leaders. There's no way we would talk about this without mentioning that many Africans who travel abroad are not traveling because they want to abandon their homes. No, but because they're searching for opportunities. They're searching for security, for healthcare, good healthcare, affordable one. They're searching for education and a better future for their family. Greener pastures, they'll call it. African leaders must do better. If government creates jobs, improve infrastructures, fight corruption, and provide hope for their citizens, fewer people will be forced to relocate across the... A lot of people jackpot. A huge percentage of people jackpot from not just Nigeria, all African countries across the continent, just to simply survive. Just to simply survive. But guess what? A lot of people who jackpot has jackpotted. When I started to hear the name Jakpadad, I was like, what is that again? Like, I read about Jakpa, and all of a sudden, I saw a video on YouTube, and the woman went, I have Jakpadad to Nigeria. And I started to see Jakpadad, Jakpadad. I was like, what is going on here? We Jakpad and we Jakpadad. Whatever this is, it's not even a joke. My heart is with everyone who have lost a loved one in South Africa. If you live in South Africa, you've lost your business, your livelihood, your children's school is disrupted. You've had to move from one place to another, just looking for a way to get out of the country. I hope you find a safe landing back to your country. And I hope that the Spirit of God is poured out upon South Africa, and that God will speak to the hearts of the people initiating these ideas and pushing these measures against Africans living in South Africa. Oh, I have come to the end of today's video, but finally, before I drop the mic, regardless of nationality, regardless of tribe, regardless of religion, regardless of language, regardless of immigration status, people must be treated like human beings. That's the bottom line for the video today. People must be treated like human beings and not like animals. An African life matters. A Nigerian life matters. A Ghanaian life matters. Cameroonian life matters. Malawian's life matters. Moroccan life matters. A white life matters. Black life matters. Every life matters. Even a South African life matters. Every human being matters. Human dignity should never depend on where a person comes from. Let us choose humanity over hatred. Choose humanity over hatred. Don't let the wrath of God come upon you before you understand these things. God help all of us in Jesus' name. Amen. If you enjoyed this discussion, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This is Life 101. I will see you again in my next video. Love you. Bye.